Hello, good morning students. Welcome to class 8. Today we are going to study chapter number 1 from history, and the chapter says how, when and where. Come on, let us see the topics inside. The first slide says how important are dates. We know that history is associated with dates. So many dates and its importance. So now we are going to study how important are these dates. History is synonymous with dates. Synonymous means history means dates, dates means history. So while studying history, that comes to your mind that history, it's full of dates. And if it is full of dates, then immediately you can quote that it is nothing but history. So, history means dates, dates means history. It is about changes that occur over a period of time. What is history? History is nothing but that changes that occurred over a period of time, not in the changes that happening in one day or in 1 week or in a 1 month. It's over a period of time, maybe a span of 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, or even sometimes maybe 100 years. It is about finding out how things were in the past and how they have changed. So while studying history, we come to know how the things were in the past and how it has changed over the time. Say for example, in the olden time or in the ancient period, people used to go to the Gurukulas. They used to be there unless and until they complete their education, isn't it? Now the system is different. The schools have started and Sarva Shikshan Abhiyan is going on, that is education for all, wherein children up to the age of 14, they cannot be, you can say, they cannot fail, or there should be continuity, and after the age of 14 or they can do whatever they wanted to. But now the education system, if you see the present day, again it is changed. Now we are from actual class to virtual class, isn't it? These are all the changes that happened over a period of time, not all of a sudden. It is, however, incorrect to date the process that happened over a period of time. We cannot fix one single date on which the British rule was established. Yes, the British rule, we are saying that it is established with the establishment of English East India Company in the year 1600, maybe 1602 or 1600. That year we can quote, but it is very difficult for us to quote on which particular date that the British rule started in India. Initially, the Britishers came to India for the purpose of trade. And should we consider that date or that year as the establishment of British rule in India? Or when the British gradually started ruling the Indians? We don't know. It is very difficult for us to fix an exact date. The national movement started, the movement that has started for attaining independence of India. Of course, we are all aware that in the year 1947 we got independence. But for that, the preparation was not the preparation of 1 or the 2 day, or it is not the preparation of 1 week or 6-7 months. The movement, it was started in the year 1857, and we got independence in the year 1947. So it's a long journey. So we cannot fix on which particular date that the national movement has started, or the changes that took place within the economy and the society. Whatever the changes they are happening in our economy or on our society, we cannot point out a particular date for that. Of course, we can say that in this particular time this happened, but it is very difficult to fix a particular date. Now let's come to the dates. How important are dates? We can only refer to one span of time. It is, as I told you, span, it is a gap, or you can say maybe of 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 1000 years. It is a span of time, an approximate period over which particular changes became visible. So during that time, we are able to find that the changes, whatever the changes happened, that can be seen. So while interacting in the classrooms, you have all given me different answers that we have, or I can say the changes occurred. We could see that digital payment, then online shopping, then the construction of overbridge from Bharuch to Ankleshwar. So these are all happened, and these changes can be visible, that we are witnessing, that we are able to see. There are certain events like birth, death, war, succession, etc., which can be dated. Yes, we can date. We know very well when is Gandhi Jayanti celebrated. Gandhi Jayanti is celebrated. So that date we know. Sardar Vallabhbhai Jayanti, that date we know. Mahavir Jayanti, that we know. Ambedkar Jayanti, that is we are going to witness in this month, that we know. So that everything, that is maybe the birth or the death or anniversary within your family also, all these dates you know very well, and that dates we can quote or we can mention also, which can be dated. Succession means after the death of the king, who became the next emperor, his son or anybody else, his predecessor, who became. So that date can be noted down by the historians, isn't it? Now historians talk issues like livelihood. Livelihood means जीवन का उपाय. जीवन चलाने के लिए there should be some means. Thereby we can earn our daily money, and with that money we can purchase our daily bread and butter. And developments and formation of kingdoms, social and cultural changes, etc. So this is the duty of the historians to quote or talk about the issues, and because of the historians they wrote all these things, and while studying, debating these history or the books written by the historians, we can come to know what has happened and or the history of a particular period or time. Now, which dates? As I told you, how important are dates, and which date we have to keep in mind. Dates become important when we focus on particular event. So on particular event, that, as I told you, the national movement. In that national movement, in the later on or in the second half, or you can say at the end of this history chapter, you will, not this chapter, at the end of that history chapters, you will come to know that the national movement, how it has started, and the dates are so important, each and every date. Okay, right from 1857 to 1947. When we write history or a story, we divide it into different chapters. Yes, history, it's dividing as a different chapter. Here also, as I told you, the modern period, it is nothing but it is divided into different chapters, from how, when and where to the what I can say, the national movement or the freedom we got, that we are going to study the entire process one by one as chapter, as slots, as different chapters. Okay, otherwise if I say all the points in one particular class, you will not be in a position to understand, and that's why it is divided into different or I can say parts. It is to tell a story in a way that makes sense and can be followed. कुछ sense है इसमें, and that can be followed. In the process, we focus only on those events that help us to give us a shape to the story that we are telling. So only we are focusing on that particular story. It has something there to share, and it gives, it has some sense. हाँ है कुछ sense इसका कहने पे, like that. Then the next one that comes, how do we periodize? Period means divide. How do we periodize? You are also having 4 periods, 3 periods, and in the actual classes 8 periods, like that. James Mill divided Indian history into 3 periods, that is Hindu, Muslim and British. And who is this James Mill? That is your question that you have to find out. Okay, so it is there in textbook. In the year I think 1764 or 62, he is saying a Scottish person, and he divides the Indian history into like Hindu, Muslim, and British period. We capture into different periods to capture the characteristics of time, its essential features as they appear to us. Important features, important जो लक्षण है as it appears to us, and that captures our mind. This shows the change from one period to the next. Apart from this, historians usually divide Indian history into ancient, medieval, and modern based on Western concept where growth was associated. So, in India, we divided the history into ancient, medieval, and modern, and apart from that, the modern based on Western concept. Western concept में कैसे इसको किया जाता है? Based on the growth of associated with science. Science में कितना improvement हुआ? How the scientific things were there in past, in ancient period, modern, medieval period, and the modern period. With reason, democracy, liberty, and equality. उसके बेसिस पे हम ancient, medieval और modern करके उसको divide किए गए. What is colonial? Colonial, the British came to conquer the country and established their rule, subjugating the local Nawabs and Rajas. Yes, I would like to say when the Britishers came to India, in India at that time the Mughals were ruling. The Mughals were the strong, powerful rulers from Afghanistan, or you can say from Central Asia, isn't it? And they were ruling. And being it is a vast kingdom, or you can say vast area, they have divided it, or you can say it was given under the different local Nawabs for the look after of the same provinces. So, or it may be the local Nawabs, or maybe the Rajas, like that. But what this British people did, they subjugated मतलब दबाना, उनको दबा दिया और उनको नीचा करके इन्होंने अपना establishment किया और existence को उन्होंने prove किया. They established control over the economy. Economy means money, or you can say the financial power, and society, दोनों के ऊपर कब्जा किया. Collected revenue, that means they started collecting revenue. Revenue means you can say tax. What we are paying, present day tax, we are paying tax to the government, and government is utilizing for the benefit of the people, like providing us drinking water or street lights, or for education, government schools, government hospitals, or you can say the infrastructures like buildings, roads, library, etc. And where the government gets money for all these things. Of course, the government is getting money from the people, or we are only paying in the form of tax to the government. But those people in those days, the British, they collected tax from the people and they started utilizing for their use. So you are a British person, and first of all, who are you to collect the money or the revenue from the Indians? But anyhow, the British were so powerful, they subjugated the Nawabs and the Rajas, and they took the power. Okay, and brought the goods they wanted at low prices. Produced crops as they needed to export. I was telling, they collected revenue to meet the expenses of their expenses, because they brought huge army with them. That huge army has to be maintained, and for that they need money, and they started collecting revenue from the Indians, and that revenue they utilized for their purpose. They bought the goods they wanted at low prices. They bought means purchase. They purchased goods from the Indians at low prices, and they produced crops they needed to export. Actually, then mainly they came to India for the trading purpose. So now they started or insisting or making forcing the people to or especially the farmers to grow such crops that was required for their trade, especially indigo is a blue color crop, is a blue color. It's by that indigo, what happened, they are making that blue color dye, blue color, indigo color. So they forced the Indian farmers to grow that indigo because it has a huge demand in Europe, and Indians they used to grow that in India, and the British used to purchase them from the Indians at low prices, and they used to sell it to the Europeans for huge price, and thereby they used to earn profit. So these are all the things that we are going to study in detail in the coming chapters also. Next one, how do we know administration produces records? The British believed that the act of writing was very important, means everything should be noted down somewhere. That was their belief. Every instruction, plan, policy, decision, agreement, investigation had to be clearly written up, which could be studied and debated. So they were of the belief that all that things, whatever it may be policy, it may be any decision, it may be any agreement, everything should be neatly written down at one place, and so that we could be studied it later or debate भी उसके ऊपर कर सकते हैं. And where to keep? उसको तो अब पूरे आप तो नोटबुक जैसे बनाया या फिर फाइल जैसे बनाया. वेयर टू कीप? सो record rooms were attached to all administrative institutions. Administrative institution that we are going to say, which are the administrative institutions, सब वो जहाँ वो institution होता था वहाँ एक record rooms भी होता था. By the mid-19th century, with the spread of printing, many copies of these records were printed and to be sold. So 19th century में printing press का आविष्कार हुआ, and with that whatever they have already written down, it is printed out and it is copied and copy करके, and it has been circulated for the people to read. Now, as I told you, record rooms were attached in all administrative institutions. Like in village, the तहसीलदार्स ऑफिस, तहसीलदार द ऑफिस, वहाँ एक उनका ऑफिस है, तो उसमें एक पर्टिकुलर रूम, रिकॉर्ड रूम. द कमिश्नर्स ऑफिस, वहाँ पर भी. द लॉ कोर्ट, कानून के कोर्ट, वहाँ पर भी उनको सब तो क्या है, रिकॉर्ड होना चाहिए ना. तो रिकॉर्ड सब वो ही होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोर्ट यहाँ है और रिकॉर्ड रूम कहाँ है, ऐसा अलग अलग नहीं होना चाहिए. And letters and memos. Memo means it's warning. If any person is receiving 3 times memo, that means it is he will I can say it's an ultimate warning, and he will lose his job if he is doing any job. Letters and memos that moved from one branch of administration to another can still read in record rooms. So कैसे वो जाता था एक जगह से दूसरा, that still can be read. In the early years of 19th century, these documents were carefully copied out and beautifully written by calligraphists. Now, who are these calligraphists? They are one with beautiful handwriting. It's a SN and handwriting, it should be okay. There is some print mistake, spelling mistake. So who are the calligraphists? The calligraphists, the one, they are with beautiful handwriting. Now you can see the record rooms of present day. जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं, मैं अगर zoom out little bit करूँ तो ये record rooms है, और दूसरी जगह पे आप देख सकते हो कि some numbers are there. That I will explain now. What all this, here they have written population, then margin error, then margin of error, वो सब लिखा है. Now that is called as surveys. Now here it is that how do we know? Surveys become, how do we know about the past? हम past के बारे में कैसे जानते हैं? That first of all important one है surveys. Now what are surveys? You might have aware that census मतलब जनगणति, जन का गणति करते हैं, एवरी ईयर नहीं करते. इट हैपन्स इन once in 10 years. Actually it was supposed to be in 2021. 2011 में हुआ था last, and it was supposed to be in 2021, and it has not, the process has not yet started due to the pandemic. Okay, so we will be able to know what was the population in 2011, now what is in 2021. So it is conducted in every 10 years. Or you might have seen that during the election time, you might have also witnessed along with your parents that the surveys are conducted, and survey says that BJP will get this much of seats, and in Maharashtra that particular party will going to form government. Or now the elections are going on in the states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, then so-called Bengal, West Bengal and all, and what the surveys are saying, whether Mamata Banerjee will get back to her seat, or whether BJP is going to rock on those states. So surveys, that is says survey, मतलब क्या है, एक ओवरऑल एस्टिमेशन करना, इसको कहते हैं सर्वेस. The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. अगर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन करने से पहले कितना संख्या में लोग हैं, और उसमें कितना मेल, कितना फीमेल, कितने पढ़े लिखे, कितने अनपढ़, how many are working, how many are not working. So okay, that if it is एक population related होता है, so then the same as the forest, how many forests are, how many part is covered by forest and how many are covered by desert or coniferous forest, like that. This became the practice of surveys. Census operation, census मतलब वही मैंने कहा जनगणति, were conducted once in 10 years. Various surveys like botanical is related to plants, zoological is related to animals, archaeological, how many that you can say the buildings are there, monuments are there, and anthropological, forest, etc. were also conducted. That means the survey, kitna hai country mein, like. The effort was to know about the flora, fauna and the topography also. कितना है, इसका मेन उद्देश्य ये है कि कंट्री में कितना है, एक सर्वे हो जाए, उसके बाद कंट्री का एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन अगर करे तो दैट विल बी वेरी इजी. Then, how do we know? What official records do not tell? So we said that the record rooms are there, wherein we can come to know that every decision policy of the government. But there are certain things which were not written anywhere. That is unofficial record. Then what it says? Official surveys tell us about the officials' thought, what they were interested in, and what they wish to preserve for posterity. ऑस्टेरिटी अभिवृद्धि या डेवलपमेंट के लिए चाहिए, वो जो सोचते हैं वही होगा, जो अगर नहीं सोचते वो तो उसमें होगा ही नहीं. These records do not always help us to understand what other people felt. So इसका only one sided, and what the negative point, that is not included. We need to take into account other sources for detailed and correct information, like diaries of people, where we can get the detail as well as the authentic and the correct information from the diaries of the people. People ka diary, they used to write, not diary that diaries of डायरी डेट वाइज टाइम वाइज जो लिखते हैं, डायरीज ऑफ पीपल, अकाउंट्स ऑफ पिलग्रिम्स लाइक फाहियान एंड हुएन सांग, दे आर द पिलग्रिम्स, दे केम टू इंडिया, बुद्धिस्ट पिलग्रिम्स, एंड दे वर इन द कोर्ट्स of the rajas, kings and all, and they have written, and on the basis of that we can decide. Then the travelers, they used to give their travel account, autobiographies and important personalities and popular booklets. इसके थ्रू हमें exact information about the history हमें पता चल जाएगा, and not by the record rooms or the surveys or surveys. Okay. This is all about chapter number 1, history, when, where and how, or I can say whatever. Thank you for listening to me. Study these things in detail. It is already given in your textbook, so go through it. In the meantime, tata, bye bye, and take care of yourself. Bye and have a nice time.